I grew up in Queens, New York, native New Yorker, and I think growing up I probably had some acting aspirations. I wanted to be an actor.
When my son was a little boy, he was very cute, very playful with his sister. They would do makeup on each other. I didn't think that in the future he will be a makeup artist.
My parents really said to me that I could do anything I set my mind to. You know, I had a very good support system in my parents. Eventually I went to law school and they were ecstatic that I was in law school and really wanted me to be a lawyer. When I dropped out, I had a year to change my mind and go back. So I thought, well, if I come back, it'll be because I decide that I want a law degree, but I knew in my heart I was never going back. It just wasn't my calling.
He knew that we were disappointed, but we told him it's your life. You'll be happy. If you're not happy here, do something else, learn something else, another profession. Then he said, I have to go to Australia. I know when I'll go to Australia, I had this epiphany that he will go to Australia, he'll find himself. And he did.
The first day of beauty school, I knew right away, this is it. I would say my big break was I was hired to be makeup director at a big Fifth Avenue salon. 2 weeks into the job, the esthetician at the salon decided she doesn't want to do eyebrows. So the owners of the salon came to me and they said, you're the makeup director, you'll be in charge of eyebrows. And I said, okay. And I'd never done anyone's brows but my own. But I used to doodle eyes and eyebrows. That was my doodle. I would draw like eyes or a face and give the brows a makeover. So I had some awareness of it and I started practicing on the staff. And when you do one person and it turns out well, everybody lines up for their brow shaping. There's like 100 employees. And then they started booking me appointments, clients. And next thing I knew, I was getting written up in Vogue in an article about eyebrow obsession. That really, in hindsight, opened the floodgates. Then all of a sudden, everybody wanted me to do their eyebrows. And it sort of took on a life of its own. And I sort of became the brow guy, whether I wanted to be or not. The biggest names that people get excited about are Taylor Swift, Britney Spears, Juliana Margulies was a brow client for many years, Rihanna. I've been very, very fortunate in my career. Everything that I was hoping would happen was happening in my career, and then I was suddenly diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Fortunately, it was caught early, but I had to go through 5 months of chemo, and it was very strong chemo, and then a month of daily radiation.
Every time we saw him, I cried. He was bald and, swollen. And he would make jokes, and makes me happy. But there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and now all he can do is just talk about it. It's gone.
I went to work every day, and on the tail end of my treatment, I had just finished chemo and was about to start radiation, and the salon fired me. They'd been trying to get me to quit leading up to that point, but I couldn't quit. I needed my health insurance and I needed to support myself. So they were putting me through a lot of indignities trying to get me to quit, and I finally confronted them and they were like, what are you going to do about it? And I said, if you're trying to get me to quit, I will never give you the satisfaction. And they said, fine, then we're letting you go. And I said, based on what? I'm bringing in a lot of money, I'm getting great press, my clients love me, what's the problem? And they said, you're not the pretty boy we hired. And so I took my things and I went home and started working for myself because I thought no one's going to hire me while I'm still in middle of treatment. I didn't know what radiation was going to do to me. So I did a mailing to my clients that I'm available privately, and God bless them, people came, and ultimately I started my own makeup line. A year later, I launched the makeup line at Bergdorf Goodman. And just as I got into Bergdorf Goodman, the salon that fired me went out of business. So it was very karmic. Yeah. I worked on a book for people living with cancer while I was going through it myself. I wrote the proposal, and it's called Beauty Therapy, the Ultimate Guide to Looking and Feeling Great While Living with Cancer. It's still in print. And I wanted to share my knowledge. I realized I'm a makeup artist. I know what to do about these physical side effects of treatment. the average person is kind of lost with makeup to begin with, and then you're looking at a stranger in the mirror and you don't know where to begin, how to address it. So I thought, let something good come out of this. Let me share this knowledge. And with my minimalist philosophy, which I think is also very helpful for someone who's not feeling well and going through cancer, they don't want to spend an hour getting ready. You know, you need quick fixes that are really effective and simple. I'm proud of it. I think it's like if I did nothing else in my life, I did this one great thing, you know, that will help people. And then I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. It wasn't even like pre-diabetic. They were like, you need to be in treatment like last week. The third thing that happened was 2.5 years ago. I was walking home one day on a Sunday afternoon and I was run down by a delivery guy on a moped or a motorbike. I don't remember the accident. I had a fractured skull, bleeding in the brain, concussion. I was hit very hard. I lost like 10 days of memory. That was the first time where I did go, what the hell? You know, I'm an evolved person. I volunteer. I give back. I don't need a wake-up call. You know, go run over the person who needs the wake-up call. I've had my wake-up calls in life. I have a great role model. Like, my mom has a lot of health issues and she's just a lioness. So she's a great role model and example. You know, it's like never say die. Where there's life, there's hope. And if you're lucky enough to be well enough to move forward, you have to move forward. Non-negotiable. People will come back to me and they'll say, do you remember how awful my eyebrows were when I first came to you? And I'll be like, I really don't, because I see the end result when I look at someone. It's not in a critical way, it's always sort of in a positive light. I love making people feel good. It's a nice way to make a living.